Hey everybody, welcome to JBoz Gaming. This is your host JBoz, and today we're going to talk about how to get better at World of Tanks. I'm going to give you some quick tips in this video, and then over a series of videos we're going to talk about better understanding in certain areas of World of Tanks and how to get better at World of Tanks with this understanding. There'll be more gameplay coming in the future where I post videos that I talk over my play and what's going through my head, my train of thought as I play the game. So without further ado, let's get into this. I'm gonna just out of habit, I'm gonna step into the World War II garage, the main garage screen, just so you have something visually to look at as I talk to you. But the first tip that I can give people that are new or trying to get better at World of Tanks is get comfortable with the controls. This is absolutely critical. Knowing how to auto lock on your targets, knowing when to fire using the auto lock and when not to fire using auto lock is very, very important in World of Tanks. If you've not seen my video on settings for console, please check that out. I walk through the default controls on the Xbox controller for World of Tanks. It is the default configuration, but still you get a good idea of all the features, and it's a matter of learning where those features are on your controller. And I do highlight or point out auto lock as the right bumper for the default controller configuration, and so knowing where that is and how to use it will make you a better tanks player. The second tip that I would give new players or people that are trying to get better at World of Tanks is slow down. This game is a multiplayer strategy game, and though, yes, some tanks are very fast, other tanks are not. So being able to slow yourself down, really think through your battles, is going to help you tremendously become a better World of Tanks player. Be patient. Sometimes you want the enemy to come to you. You don't always want to have to go out and find the enemy, because you might have picked out a great location that is not only visible to routes that you know the enemy might take, but you also have good cover, and now you can snipe them as they come into those areas that you know the enemy will eventually be. So slow down, have patience. This game kind of unfolds itself as you play in the battles. So that's probably tip number two. Just slow down. Know your strengths and weaknesses. This is the third tip. Know your tank. Learn what each of the stats are on your tank. Learn your strengths of your tank, where to position your tank, how to position your tank, what your tank is good at, whether it's a fast mobile tank, whether it's a heavily armored heavy, or whether it's an artillery that can drop rounds from far away, or a tank destroyer that's maybe a little slower but has great concealment, and you can find that nice concealed spot where you can snipe the enemy. These are all, when you focus on these things, you're going to naturally get better at World of Tanks. They are not going to make you super unicom. They're not going to make you the greatest World of Tanks player, but you are going to improve if you follow some of these tips. Number 4, everyone dies at some point. So don't get frustrated if you get killed in a battle. It happens. It happens to even super unicom players. Yeah, that's right. On this channel, on this YouTube channel, I'm going to expose some of the super unicom myths out there. Super unicom players die, and they die a lot. So just know that you're in good company when you die. Here's the tip, though. Make it tough for them to kill you. Don't just drive out into the middle of the open and sit there as you're getting shot. That doesn't make you a good World of Tanks player, and it actually makes it very easy for them to eliminate your tank. So make it tough for the other team to kill you. Always be monitoring where you're at on the battlefield, whether you're visible to the enemy or not, and always have kind of a backup plan of how to get under cover, or how do you get to a safe spot. So know where uh, to go when you find yourself under fire. So that's number 4. Everyone dies. Make it tough to kill yourself. Make it tough for them to kill you. Number 5. Know the tanks you'll be playing against. Now, this is a very common mistake by a lot of World of Tanks players. And the reason that is, or I believe, this is my opinion, the reason that is we all want to rush up the tech trees. We all want to get that next premium tank. We all want to get the tier 10 tank or whatever the top tier tank is in that particular nation that we're hankering to get. And we're rushing up the tech trees. The problem is that doesn't make you a good World of Tanks player. That great tank that you get to doesn't make you any better of a player. You start to learn how to be a good World of Tanks player in the lower tiers. So get to know your enemies. Get to know the tiers that tank plays against. Get to know the tanks in that tier. Get to know their strengths and weaknesses based on their stats. Get to know their armor, strengths, and weaknesses, and you will become a better World of Tanks player just by doing that. I would say, as a tip, it takes on average to really master a tank about 100 games. 100 games in a tank. And I know I'm going to get probably feedback and comments about, oh no, I pretty much master a tank after 20 or 30 battles. Yeah, you probably do, but you have not learned not just your tank, you have not learned all of the tanks in that tier. And so to really master the tank and that tier, you really need to play about 100 games in a tank in that tier. And so you really need to think about getting better, and it's to some degree it's a little bit of work because you have to study the tanks. Maybe you have to even play the tanks that are on the other opposing team. I see a lot of people play a game where, well, I'm going to play the tank that kills me, and if it kills me and I don't have it, then I'm going to research it. And so that's a kind of a nice way of really spreading your knowledge of World of Tanks and really learning from others what other tanks might be good to play. But it is very important for you not only to learn your tank, but the other tanks that you might come up against in that particular range of tiers. So know your enemy, know what they do and how they might play in that tank. All right, number 6, and I kind of mentioned this before, but that's okay. I want to highlight it. Play low tiers until you have mastered all of the game's concepts. That's right, all of the game's concepts. Because what you do as you progress in tier is actually begin to expose your lack of knowledge as you go up the tiers if you don't have any idea or understand the concepts of what it fully takes to play this game. Because yes, the tanks do get better as you go up in tier, but no, the players don't get weaker, they get stronger. And they will have mastered all concepts of the game, and they will use all concepts against you to win and be successful. So if you're not doing the same and learning all concepts early on, then you're just doing yourself a disservice to move up in tiers. I know it's a game and you can play it any way you want, and that's okay. Go ahead and move up in tiers. I'm just telling you that you will have less success unless you master all the concepts of the game first. If you want to move up in tiers and master the concepts later, that's fine. You'll be easy kill, and you'll feed somebody some damage until you do. If you're comfortable with that, that's cool. I'm not being facetious and I'm not being sarcastic. I'm just telling you that's reality. And if you have fun doing that, then do it. I don't want to try to tell people how to play, but these videos are about helping people get better at World of Tanks, and that is a biggie. Play low tiers until you've mastered the concepts. All right, number 7, get and use a mic. Talk to your teammates, the people that are on your side. Even if they don't talk back, talk through what you're doing. Talk through who you're seeing, where you're seeing them, call it out, because even if they don't have a mic, they may be listening to you and they might react to what you say. So a mic is one good for just communication, but it's really good if you do have someone that's also beginning to talk back to you and you're working as a team. You'll learn team concepts, you'll learn to begin to really work with others, and you'll learn hopefully some things that you may not have picked up in the video. Maybe they'll share tips and tricks of their own, maybe spots where they go or strategies about the map you're on and so on. So it is always good to have a microphone in a multiplayer game over the internet. Use obviously discretion and caution when talking with others, especially if you're under age. You need to be smart about what information you share, but to play the game and to talk about the game is okay, and use a microphone to do that. Big, big tip. Number 8, join join a training clan if you can. Meaning, if there are clans out there. I even have one that we use, that we let people join, and we help them. We platoon with them and help them get better at tanks. And that's that clan is SC6. It stands for SEAL Club 6. It's kind of a cute name because most of these folks are lower tier players, and that's okay. They're learning how to play and they're learning to get better at tanks. But join a clan that will help you. Again, with a microphone and other people playing the game with you, you'll begin to learn strategy. You'll begin to learn some of those more advanced concepts much, much quicker, and you'll get big experience doing that. All the while, you have people that you can count on, and they have people that they can count on in the battles that you're fighting. You won't have to just hope that your allies do what they need to do in order to win the game. So big tip there is joining a clan if you can. If you can't, try platooning with others, and talking with others just in general. A World of Tanks community is generally very, very helpful. Now, when you don't know how to play, you might get messages about that you stink or aren't very good, or you need to learn how to play better, or even nastier messages than that, I can just imagine. And that's because tank players really enjoy playing with people that understand their game and want to see success and want to win together. So try to consider that as you figure out what play style and what's fun for you as you play World of Tanks. All right, number 9, have map awareness. Learn to always check the minimap, to be aware of where your enemies are and where your allies are. Map awareness is first and foremost that. Just knowing where you're at on the battlefield, where your enemies are on the battlefield, and where your allies are on the battlefield. Learn the maps. As you get experience playing in the matchmaker and in the different maps that are available to the different game modes, learn the maps that you will be placed on. Learn like where the terrain is advantageous to your particular tank and its strengths and weaknesses. Learn particular routes that you typically would take, if you're on your side where your allies typically would go, and on the other side learn where the enemies might be and what routes they might take on that particular map. This all leads into map strategy, and I'll be doing all kinds of videos in the future about map strategy specifically, especially in the more intermediate and advanced trainings. But just always be aware of that map, and learn as much as you can about every single map that you can. And then the kind of third sub tip here under map awareness is isolate enemy tanks and avoid being isolated if you can. This kind of goes hand in hand with that knowing where the enemy is and also knowing where your allies are. If you find all your allies are on one side of the map and you're on the other side of the map, then you're the sucker. You're the one that's going to get isolated and killed if you have good players on the other team. You'll try to isolate individual tanks to take them out, and you'll try to cluster with allies to help defend each other. Not only defend each other, but you can also fire on the same tank at the same time, which takes the tank out even faster. So just map awareness alone can lead you to being a better tank player. So use that mini-map, learn to look down at that mini-map quite often in the battle, and constantly be aware of where your enemies and allies are. And don't and isolate those enemies that you can, and prevent yourself from being isolated. All right, number 10, final tip of this video. Every tank can be killed. Every tank. So I don't care if you get up to tier 10 and you get that mouse or whatever tank is your ideal tank to get to. That tank can be killed. And so there is no tank that's invincible in World of Tanks. There are tanks that have some advantages that are very nice, but they don't make you. There's no tank in World of Tanks that makes you Super Unicom. There's no tank in World of Tanks that makes you a great player. Only you can do that through learning all of the game concepts that we share here on this channel, and that you find from veterans that have already played this game and kind of mastered these skills. So, um, so yeah, there's 10 quick tips on how to improve as a World of Tanks player. I'm going to include this video in the start of a playlist that I'll call Intermediate Training. And this training is all about basically introducing those concepts and really going into detail, into some detail about those. So stay tuned for those videos. I would leave you with one note. Actually, I'm going to list those concepts before we get off here, but I do want to leave you with this note about World of Tanks, and that is, this is a multiplayer game. It's not only a multiplayer game; it's a multiplayer strategy game. Yes, it's similar to a first shooter, but then again, it's not a first-person shooter. You're most effective, though, in a multiplayer strategy game. You're most effective as a group, at playing with others. It is very hard. It is very hard to get really good at World of Tanks by playing with yourself individually in the game. You go into a multiplayer battle. Most times you have 15 people on one side, 15 on another, and it is very hard for one individual to actually take on 15 people. So playing with those other 14 that are on your team helps you become successful, helps you become better at World of Tanks, helps you increase your win rate, the number of games you win in World of Tanks, helps you improve your stats. So learning to play with others is very important, and I really encourage you to do that. Don't get me wrong, I spent the first 2 years of my World of Tanks console experience totally solo, totally by myself, and I had fun. I had a good time. I enjoyed the game. I got better, but I really didn't take a step up until I really joined a clan, really started to platoon with others, and really started to play with others, and that's where my skill level skyrocketed. So just know that you can have perfectly good fun, and this is a very enjoyable game playing as an individual, but you're leaving behind a lot of fun that you can have, or potentially that you might have, if you get that mic and platoon with others and join a clan. Really encourage you to do that, because it really opens up the game and what all the game has to offer. All right, so we talked a lot, and I mentioned a lot about knowing those concepts of the game. Well, there's a lot of concepts to learn. This is actually a pretty complex multiplayer strategy game. So I'll just list this. It's in no particular order, but I'll list the kind of concepts that we'll talk through here in the next coming videos. One will be understanding matchmaking. 2, understanding how armor works. 3, understanding concepts such as side scraping and reverse side scraping. Understanding concepts around concealment. Understanding how clans work, and generally what they're good for, and maybe sometimes what they're not good for. Um, Understanding when to cap and when not to cap. Understanding ammo, and more in depth than I've covered in the previous in basic videos. I mean, we're going to talk about when to use the right ammo, what all the different types of ammo really are, and the advantages and disadvantages and the situations you should use them in. We'll talk more about that in another video. Understanding arties, what it means to be arty safe. People use that term, and what arties bring to the game, and also what maybe they don't bring to the game. And then we'll also talk about general map strategies, of course, and we'll even follow that up with subsequent videos about specific maps and strategies to use on those maps. And then, of course, understanding crew training, how to crew train, what's the best way to crew train, and so on. Understand how to assess threats and the progression of that assessment. We'll go through that in a detailed video. We'll do understand how to track other tanks. Along with that, we'll do a video not only on tracking damage, but spotting damage, as well as any assist damage. We'll talk about in another video in depth, but just specifically how to track tanks and why it's good to do that. We'll also we'll have a video on how to always be willing to learn from others. We'll do a video on understanding our consumables, equipment, and skills, and more importantly, how those three things work together to hopefully increase the strengths of your tank and minimize your tank's weaknesses. So stay tuned for that. And then we'll do a video on money management. We did a video on the store, and I gave some tips in there, but I'm more talking about like how to minimize what I'll call silver bleed, because some of the things we add to our tank cost us money every single battle, like the ammunition we use or the consumables we run on our tanks, and how to maybe minimize that silver drain on our account, and how to manage both silver and gold really is the two different monies in World of Tanks, and we'll talk about both. And then we'll also do a video on what people refer to as Win 8. What is it? And then we'll talk about stats also in that video, kind of help you understand what people pay attention to and what things maybe are important and what things aren't. And then we'll also do a video on platooning, some etiquette, as well as how to do it well versus how you do it kind of casually. And then also we'll do maybe a video on how if you follow all these concepts, we'll do videos that pull in all these concepts and really kind of highlight or show me in game using these concepts and really giving you a first-hand account of how to do this. I know there's videos out there on YouTube that maybe cover some of these concepts, and some don't, but I really want to show you guys how to apply these. I don't want to just talk at you. I really would like you to see gameplay, and it's more than you just watching a video. Obviously, you have to hear me. You have to hear and know the information first, so that's what I try to do. Then the second thing is you probably need to see it demonstrated, so that's what we'll do here. And then the third thing is you're going to have to get out and get experience with it. Try it yourself and figure it out. I'll eventually do some live streams where folks can come in and ask me some questions as the channel builds and grows, which will be helpful. But also rewatch a video if you tried it and it didn't quite work for you. Maybe you missed something, or you didn't understand the concept. So try to watch it again. You could always leave a comment on a video, and I'll try to get back to you as much as I can, and as quickly as I can. But that's the 10 tips and tricks, and also kind of the future of where this particular playlist is headed, is introducing you to all these concepts and really kind of immersing you in how to become a better World of Tanks player. So as always, appreciate your time. Hopefully this was helpful. If it was, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the bell so you can get notified of any new videos as I release them for the playlist. Otherwise, good luck, happy tanking, and we'll see you in the next one.